The 100 most famous quotes of all time. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Walt Disney. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Steve Jobs. If life were predictable, it would cease to be life, and be without flavor. Eleanor Roosevelt. If you look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you'll never have enough. Oprah Winfrey. If you set your goals ridiculously high and it's a failure, you will fail above everyone else's success. James Cameron. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. John Lennon. Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. Mother Teresa. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot in it and hang on. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Always remember that you are absolutely unique, just like everyone else. Margaret Mead. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap but by the seeds that you plant. Robert Louis Stevenson. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. Benjamin Franklin. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, they must be felt with the heart. Helen Keller. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Aristotle. Whoever is happy will make others happy too. Anne Frank. Do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. Mother Teresa. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot in it and hang on. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Always remember that you are absolutely unique, just like everyone else. Margaret Mead. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap but by the seeds that you plant. Robert Louis Stevenson. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. Benjamin Franklin. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, they must be felt with the heart. Helen Keller. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Aristotle. Whoever is happy will make others happy too. Anne Frank. Do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Ralph Waldo Emerson. You will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be defeated. Maya Angelou. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years. Abraham Lincoln. Never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. Babe Ruth. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Helen Keller. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Thomas A. Edison. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. Dr. Seuss. If life were predictable, it would cease to be life and be without flavor. Eleanor Roosevelt. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years. Abraham Lincoln. Life is a succession of lessons which must be lived to be understood. Ralph Waldo Emerson. You will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be defeated. Maya Angelou. Never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. Babe Ruth. Life is never fair, and perhaps it is a good thing for most of us that it is not. Oscar Wilde. The only impossible journey is the one you never begin. Tony Robbins. In this life we cannot do great things. We can only do small things with great love. Mother Teresa. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Albert Einstein. The purpose of our lives is to be happy. Dalai Lama. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. John Lennon. 20 years from now you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So, throw off the bowlines, sail away from safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, discover. Mark Twain. First, have a definite, clear practical ideal, a goal, an objective. Second, have the necessary means to achieve your ends, wisdom, money, materials, and methods. Third, adjust all your means to that end. Aristotle. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. Gloria Steinem. If you look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you'll never have enough. Oprah Winfrey. I would rather die of passion than of boredom. Vincent van Gogh. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. Henry David Thoreau. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela. I attribute my success to this: I never gave or took any excuse. Florence Nightingale. If you are offered a seat on a rocket ship, don't ask what seat. Just get on. Sheryl Sandberg. I didn't fail the test. I just found 100 ways to do it wrong. Benjamin Franklin. I have learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear. Rosa Parks. Too many of us are not living our dreams because we are living our fears. Les Brown. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. Henry Ford. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Confucius. Nothing is impossible, the word itself says, I'm possible. Audrey Hepburn. Life is 10% what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. Charles Swindoll. You may be disappointed if you fail, but you are doomed if you don't try. Beverly Sills. Dream big and dare to fail. Norman Vaughn. Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. George Adair. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Anne Frank. The most difficult thing is the decision to act, the rest is merely tenacity. Amelia Earhart. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. Mother Teresa. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Henry Ford. The question isn't who is going to let me, it's who is going to stop me. Ayn Rand. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Ralph Waldo Emerson. People who succeed have momentum. The more they succeed, the more they want to succeed and the more they find a way to succeed. Similarly, when someone is failing, the tendency is to get on a downward spiral that can even become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Tony Robbins. Before anything else, preparation is the key to success. Alexander Graham Bell. I'm selfish, impatient and a little insecure. I make mistakes, I am out of control and at times hard to handle. But if you can't handle me at my worst, then you sure as hell don't deserve me at my best. Marilyn Monroe. Two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe. Albert Einstein. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Bernard M. Baruch. You've gotta dance like there's nobody watching, love like you'll never be hurt, sing like there's nobody listening, and live like it's heaven on earth. William W. Perky. Don't walk in front of me. I may not follow, don't walk behind me. I may not lead, walk beside me. Just be my friend. Albert Camus. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. Here's to the crazy ones. The misfits. The rebels. The troublemakers. The round pegs in the square holes. The ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. And they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world, are the ones who do. Rob Siltonen. I believe that everything happens for a reason. People change so that you can learn to let go. Things go wrong so that you appreciate them when they're right. You believe lies so you eventually learn to trust no one but yourself, and sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together. Marilyn Monroe. 20 years from now you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines. Sail away from the safe harbor. Catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore. Dream. Discover. H. Jackson Brown Jr., P.S. I love you. All that is gold does not glitter, not all those who wander are lost, the old that is strong does not wither, deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken, a light from the shadows shall spring, renewed shall be blade that was broken, the crownless again shall be king. J.R.R. Tolkien, The Fellowship of the Ring. There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. Albert Einstein. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The opposite of art is not ugliness, it's indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it's indifference. And the opposite of life is not death, it's indifference. Elie Wiesel. I love you without knowing how, or when, or from where. I love you simply, without problems or pride. I love you in this way because I do not know any other way of loving but this, in which there is no I or you, so intimate that your hand upon my chest is my hand, so intimate that when I fall asleep your eyes close. Pablo Neruda, 100 Love Sonnets. Have you ever been in love? Horrible, isn't it? It makes you so vulnerable. It opens your chest and it opens up your heart and it means that someone can get inside you and mess you up. Neil Gaiman. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own. And you know what you know. And you are the one who'll decide where to go. Dr. Seuss. You may not be her first, her last, or her only. She loved before she may love again. But if she loves you now, what else matters? She's not perfect, you aren't either, and the two of you may never be perfect together, but if she can make you laugh, cause you to think twice, and admit to being human and making mistakes, hold on to her and give her the most you can. She may not be thinking about you every second of the day, but she will give you a part of her that she knows you can break, her heart. So don't hurt her, don't change her, don't analyze, and don't expect more than she can give. Smile when she makes you happy, let her know when she makes you mad, and miss her when she's not there. Bob Marley. Sometimes, you read a book and it fills you with this weird evangelical zeal, and you become convinced that the shattered world will never be put back together unless and until all living humans read the book. John Green. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case, you fail by default. J.K. Rowling. I am, he said. He was staring at me, and I could see the corners of his eyes crinkling. I'm in love with you, and I'm not in the business of denying myself the simple pleasure of saying true things. I'm in love with you, and I know that love is just a shout into the void, and that oblivion is inevitable, and that we're all doomed, and that there will come a day when all our labor has been returned to dust, and I know the sun will swallow the only earth we'll ever have, and I am in love with you. John Green. Have you fallen in love with the wrong person yet? Jay said, unfortunately, Lady of the Haven, my one true love remains myself. At least, she said, you don't have to worry about rejection, Jace Wayland. Not necessarily. I turn myself down occasionally, just to keep it interesting. Cassandra Clare. I am nothing special, of this I am sure. I am a common man with common thoughts, and I've led a common life. There are no monuments dedicated to me, and my name will soon be forgotten, but I've loved another with all my heart and soul, and to me, this has always been enough. Nicholas Sparks. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. William Shakespeare. Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. Winston S. Churchill. The story so far: in the beginning the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. Douglas Adams. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the wants. Listen to the never-haves, then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. Shel Silverstein. What really knocks me out is a book that, when you're all done reading it, you wish the author that wrote it was a terrific friend of yours and you could call him up on the phone whenever you felt like it. That doesn't happen much, though. J.D. Salinger. Love never dies a natural death. It dies because we don't know how to replenish its source. It dies of blindness and errors and betrayals. It dies of illness and wounds. It dies of weariness, of witherings, of tarnishings. Anais Nin. We're all a little weird. And life is a little weird. And when we find someone whose weirdness is compatible with ours, we join up with them and fall into mutually satisfying weirdness, and call it love, true love. Robert Fulghum. Finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in, forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin as serenely and with too high a spirit to be encumbered with your old nonsense. Ralph Waldo Emerson.